want to show you something that I think is really special, something I think is actually kind of beautiful, okay? Try and figure out what this is as we watch the footage of it, okay? Let's take a look. So this looks a lot like a game to me, but there's something different, okay? What is this? Just from that footage, what does it seem to be? Yes?
So like PT or something like that?
Absolutely. This is not a game, though it does look like one. This is a physical therapy program. This uses game dev technology. It uses game dev techniques and tricks, but this is not to help you have a good time. You might have a good time, but that's not the point. This is game development and XR used for something pretty special, okay? Not to give people a good evening, but to give someone their life back, okay? And it's special for that reason, but it's also special for a few other reasons too. NeuroVR, this medical rehabilitation program, was made by someone very special to me. It was made by one of my earliest students, Daniel Kortemeyer. It was all made by one student, if you can believe it. Okay, a rock star student. Daniel could build anything, and he loved building things that really mattered, okay? Games really matter to me. They matter to a lot of people, but again, this isn't about helping someone have a fun night. This is about giving someone their limbs back, their motor skills back, their life back. And before this, I didn't think game dev could do such a thing, all right? Before NeuroVR, I hadn't seen anything like it. Daniel had been working in Dr. Krishna's laboratory in Michigan Medicine, and he did a phenomenal job. But unfortunately, Daniel is also my first student to die. He passed away. He passed away of just a random freak heart failure that happened in 2020, my first student to pass away. And that really shook me. It shook me pretty badly, right? It reminded me that no matter how healthy you are, no matter how much of a rock star you are, we don't know how many days we have. Doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. And Daniel was someone who was always trying to have impact with the days and the time that he had. He had tremendous skill, and instead of making more games, he made a few games, they were awesome. He wanted to make this, and for quite a while, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And NeuroVR, as it turns out, was not really an isolated thing, okay? NeuroVR is something that traditional games can't do. NeuroVR was kind of part of a wave in 2020 of XR applications, extended reality applications, that asked What unique, special things can we do that normal games can't do? What can we do with these and with this, okay? And it turns out a lot of people thought we were going to be living in a metaverse, a digital world with this. But actually, there were a lot of really interesting niches where this really did actually matter. Okay? NeuroVR is something that traditional games can't do. It's also something that matters beyond just simple recreation, and that's what made it special. NeuroVR is a big thing that kind of rekindled my faith in XR. Okay? Because I will admit to you right now, for the longest time, I was quite a skeptic of extended reality. And I'll say this. When's the last time you heard of the metaverse? You heard that word. It was all the rage a few years ago. What happened to it? Poof, gone. It seems like there are more XR skeptics than ever. But ironically, right now, I'm a believer. And I want to show you why. Okay? I got a challenge for you. What technology am I about to describe? Okay? I'm going to describe a technology, and I want you to tell me what I'm talking about. And how impactful do you think this all sounds? So, we have a technology that has fans forking over hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars to get into it. We have technology that is defined, it is characterized by uncompromising, high-def, high-fidelity immersion. We have a technology that appears to be multi-industry. It's including gaming, right? It has games involved with it, but there are other applications too, quite a few of them. It is the foundation of billion-dollar products and some of the largest corporations and institutions and teams on Earth today putting a lot of resources into it. So the question is, what product am I describing? And does it sound like it's going to have a huge impact? What am I describing? And everyone's thinking to themselves, should I say XR? Should I say XR? What should I say? What am I describing? Well, yes? Mobile phones, okay. Crypto, okay. Extended reality, you know it, right? That's the name of the course, isn't it? You're absolutely right. You're thinking about it. You know it right in your head. I'm talking about 3D television. Okay? 3D TV, right? You've all got one, right? How many of you have a 3D TV? Any of you? No? Not a single person. I think last semester we had like one hand, okay? 3D television. This was the tech hype wave of the 2010s. It is a kind of modern evolution of stereoscopy. This is the idea that we can create this illusion of depth, of immersion, by giving your two eyes a slightly different picture. Because actually, when you're looking at things in the environment, in the real world, that's what happens. Each of your eyes has a slightly different angle on anything that you focus on. The Viewmaster in 1962 was kind of one of the early toys that demonstrated this to children. But as it turns out, we can use 3D glasses to simulate this kind of thing in real time with different images. You can also, there are a couple different configurations for glasses that can make this work with their different advantages. How many of you had a 3DS, Nintendo 3DS, okay? I still don't quite understand how this thing achieved its 3D effect, but it is exceptionally cool. The 2010s saw an explosion in box office releases. A lot of films came out in 2010s, and they came out for 3D. What was really interesting is that when you released a film in a 3D format, it gave cinemas a chance to charge about 30 to 40% more for that ticket. So there were a lot of cinemas, there were a lot of big companies like Sony that were putting a lot of money into making 3D TV the future. Why wouldn't it be the future? It's awesome, right? It is high tech, it lets us charge more, it makes it more immersive, right? 3D home televisions were soon produced, and they ended up in a lot of homes. But, you know, that 3D TV didn't quite work out, did it? And now it is a ghost town, okay? It is a hype wave that petered out. The way I described it wasn't an exaggeration. In the 2010s, this is the situation for 3D TV. And it didn't end up working out. But these attributes could describe something else, couldn't they? A lot of tech hype waves have these attributes. Extended reality has these attributes, okay? And that should concern you a little bit because 3D TV didn't make it. It petered out, it didn't have the impacts that were promised. And so one of the major questions we're going to discover in this course is what makes XR any different? What makes crypto any different? Is it different? What makes AI, Gen AI, the current tech hype wave, any different? Well, when it comes to extended reality, what we're going to discover is that the big promises failed, but the small ones, the niche ones, the rehabilitating someone to give them their limbs back, their life back, okay? Augmented reality glasses that help a deaf person communicate with their family. These tiny, not so sexy, niche use cases are where XR continues to thrive and where its future probably lies. Not all of us living in a metaverse under Mr. Zuckerberg's control, but in finding little ways to help real people with their genuine, real problems. Okay? And it really does matter. Niche can be enough. I have a story for you. 2013, I look like this. I'm still like a freshman, a sophomore or something. I'm the president of WolverineSoft at that time. I'm running the game dev club on campus. And I meet someone really cool. Okay, his name is Craig Albert. He's right there on the right. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's a technologist at heart. If there's new tech hype wave coming, he's going to be there early. And he brings the Oculus Dev Kit 2 to WolverineSoft. And actually, this is what it looks like. Okay, you can see me right there. I actually didn't have that much more hair in that era, if you can believe it. Yep, right there on the right. And he brings this technology in. We don't know what on earth is this? Virtual reality, right? That's from Tron or something, right? And I have my first experience ever in the guillotine simulator, okay? And what he does is he has me kind of lay down on a table, like with my belly right down on the table, and he puts the headset on me. I'm just kind of looking around, and I look up, and oh no, right? And a few minutes later, the French guillotine falls right on my neck and my head goes rolling into a pail. And I thought to myself, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, okay? I've been killed in VR for the very first time. And I would go on to experience a lot of other applications pretty rapidly as well. I played a game called Pac-Man VR. Have you seen this one? A very early game. This one is kind of terrifying, actually. Let's take a look. Okay, you are running around in this maze, and you're kind of like looking around the corner. It's like, whoa, oh my gosh. And these gigantic robots are coming after you. And you are running as fast as you can through this maze. You're getting disoriented, you're getting lost. It is extremely panic-inducing and really engaging, okay? But it's another thing that isn't so good. What else is it? Anyone know? Motion sickness like crazy. This was my first experience with VR, and after playing this game for about 10 minutes, I wouldn't recover for about 3 days. Okay, I felt terrible for about 3 days. It became very clear that VR held a lot of promise, but it also had a lot of pitfalls too. And with any new technology, sorting those things out is really important, okay? It was a visceral experience, but the friction was very, very real. And there was this question in the air, what is VR for? Lots of money flowing into XR, lots of hype in XR, but no one seemed to be really asking this question. One of the most important entrepreneurial questions you can ask. What on earth is this thing actually for? What problems does it actually solve? And of course, it's for video games, right? It's exciting, it's immersive, cool visuals, you're in the game, okay? Is that actually true? How many of you play games on occasion, at least? You know, rare occasion. When's the last time you played a VR game?
Probably like 6 years ago.
6 years ago. And that's probably one of the more recent times someone's played. Okay? VR for gaming and engagement. There have been big games released for VR, but a funny thing happens when you actually look at the numbers. When you look at the actual numbers, you realize that it's okay, but not really, okay? The most popular VR games that have ever existed are annihilated by this year's most popular Steam game, traditional 2D screen game. This is Elden Ring. It's a very famous game. What about Valheim? This game's not nearly as famous, but it annihilates our most popular VR game. So what's the problem here? Is virtual reality just not catching on with gamers? Is it not immersing or engaging enough? Okay. I'd like to point something out. One of the most immersive and engaging games of the last several decades looks like this. Anyone know what game this is? It's a game called Undertale. It was made by one person, probably in Microsoft Paint, and it is amazingly engaging. The art style looks very simple, but the world is reactive, okay? You make decisions and the game responds in a way that feels rich. The characters are developed and the story is very, very engrossing. It turns out if you just want to immerse people and engage them, you can do it with basic stuff, okay? In fact, one of the most immersive mediums we have, still super successful, doesn't have any images at all. It's just a book. So maybe VR and AR aren't really for gamers. And if they're not for gamers, what is it for? VR for quite a while stagnated as people tried to figure out what the answer is. They poured tons of money into trying to figure this out. Smartphone VR headset sales collapse as interest wanes, okay? This should be VR's moment. Why is it still so niche? 2021 New York Times. VR sales are tanking, but is the market in a tailspin? It felt like VR was headed for the dumps, okay? And AR was not far behind it. Does anyone know what this famous GIF is showing? What it's from? What the context was? In this GIF, look closely. You can see a bunch of people without headsets on looking at a whale spring out of their gymnasium with accurate particle physics in a perfectly choreographed little dive so that it starts in this end and it finishes right in front of the people. The lighting is perfect. It looks as natural as a whale jumping out of a gym floor can look. This is footage from a company called Magic Leap. They used this footage basically before, I think, their IPO to show what their new augmented reality technology could do. When people saw this, when investors saw this, they dumped money into Magic Leap because this company is decades ahead of everyone else. This is the AR future, where you're walking down the street and you can see whatever you need to see, right? Literally the metaverse. Ready Player One style, okay? And so people were hyped. They dumped a lot of money in, and you know what happened? It came out looking like this. so no one wanted to really put it on. And it turned out to be Microsoft HoloLens. Very restricted field of view, very underwhelming, barely worked, looked like garbage, okay? Super expensive too. The company was reviled. In fact, I think they got sued for putting out this false advertising. This is concept footage. This is what they were aiming for, but they conveniently forgot to tell people that. Oops, right? Kind of dishonest. So, Magic Leap fails, all right? Magic Leap slashes 1,000 jobs, bad headlines. And yet, in 2025, many people would say the killer app for AR is an old Pokemon game where one of the major features is your ability to turn the AR off. I'm getting depressed just standing up here talking about this. Okay? Okay, XR is a bit in the dumps. All right? There's no way to look at it. If you are chasing that metaversian future where Mark Zuckerberg kind of owns everything and we're all living in the virtual reality, it's not looking so good. And how could it be failing? How could it be failing? This was supposed to be the future. Tron foretold that we would all be living in a digital world very soon. Okay? Look at it like this, right? It's going to be us soon. Look forward to it. If you've seen any sort of Saturday morning cartoon kids show, there's inevitably an episode where they go into a virtual world. There have been books and novels written about how we're all going to be living in a virtual world very, very soon and what it's going to be like. All right? How could it fail? Well, here's the thing. I thought it might fail. I didn't believe in XR. I felt that XR was trending the direction that so many other technology hype waves, gimmicks, had trended. 3D TV, of course, but do you remember motion controls? The Wii, the Kinect, Microsoft Kinect, PlayStation Move, okay? Do you remember one of my favorites, Smell-O-Vision? Smell-O-Vision. If you don't know what this is, you would buy a film, like Rugrats film, and you would, in the box, you'd get this little card, and the card had scents embedded into a bunch of different numbered dials. And when you would get to a certain part in the film, they would put a hideous big number on the screen. And that was your hint that you were supposed to scratch that part of the little card. And you would like smell the card, and you would smell whatever nasty thing was being displayed in the film at that time. Okay? Smell-O-Vision, it's the future, right? Virtual reality has tried and kind of floundered before. The Virtual Boy is a system that we're going to talk a little bit more about in the future. But you are not supposed to play this for more than 15 minutes at a time, or it could permanently mess up your vision. Okay? Not so great. 0 degrees of freedom. You put your head into this thing, you stick it in, and you can't move anymore. Like, you can't move at all. So not a great experience. Technology hype waves are always coming, and some of them take off and some of them flounder. I thought XR was going to flounder completely, go extinct, the way of 3D TV, until I started to notice the smaller things that actually gave me a lot of hope. The smaller things we're going to focus on in this course. The smaller things that really matter. The people who were getting really into VR and AR weren't so much the gamers. They were people into fitness, okay? Who knows what this game is? It's a very special game. What is it called? Go ahead.
Beat Saber.
Beat Saber. Absolutely, Beat Saber. What you might say is the true killer app of virtual reality these days. A fitness game. Look at the back of this kid's shirt. This is not fake, okay? There's no hype here. This is genuine. And if you've played the game, you know it is a fantastic rhythm game that really gets you moving and can make it quite engaging, okay? You want to do this workout. I started to notice that companies were doing really interesting, kind of small-scale things with training, okay? Putting you into someone else's shoes, quite literally, okay? interacting with different people in different situations and getting a feel for how things can play out. Training, first responder training was one of the coolest. I went to Royal Oak. I drove to Pixo VR, kind of a local company, where they discovered that, you know what's really hard? It's really hard to train someone to fix a gas leak by reading a textbook or watching a video. It turns out we can't actually, the best way to train someone on how to fix a gas leak is to put them near a gas leak and get them to fix it. Now, you can't do this for a few reasons, okay? Huge liability issue. You have to blow up someone's neighborhood. That's not so great. And you might blow up the trainee. Not so great, okay? But Pixo discovered that you can put someone in a dangerous situation. You can make beautiful visuals and sounds to panic them a little bit. In fact, even better, and this is the best part, you can randomize what happens in the training sim so that the student isn't just memorizing what happens, okay? They actually have to react dynamically to the situation unfolding in front of them. Way better. That is a top-tier way to build a mental model of what you're trying to learn. First responder training, absolutely massive, okay? I'm reminded of this clip from one of my favorite films, The Matrix. When it comes to teaching and education, this is the kind of stuff that might put me out of the job in the future, and I hope it does, because this is crazy. Watch what happens here, but more importantly, I want you to watch Neo's reaction to learning. He has a very interesting reaction to his gain of knowledge. Watch this.
Supposed to start with this operation programs first. That's major shape. Let's do something a little more fun. How about combat training? Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu. Might get anything he likes it. How about some more? Oh, yes. Hold it. 10 hours straight. It's unashamed. I know kung fu.
Show me. This is a sparring program, similar to the program reality of the Matrix. It has the same basic rules like gravity. What you must learn is that these rules are no different than the rules of a computer system. Some of them can be bent. Others can be broken. Understand? Then hit me, if you can.
10 seconds, and Neo has become an expert at martial arts. And it is intense. When he wakes up from the program after that 10 seconds, he's exhausted. Okay? He's mentally spent. But does he like it? Neo, how about some more? And what does he say? What does he say? He doesn't just say yes. He says hell yes. Okay? Here you're looking at a future where we are able to plug into someone's brain much more directly than we can today. And we can manipulate the neurons and electrical signals in that person's brain in order to create whatever mental models and structures that we need to give that person knowledge. In many ways, it's kind of a scary future. If you can put some knowledge into a human brain, well, what if you put different knowledge in? Maybe knowledge that isn't really knowledge. Maybe something more like a virus. I don't know. But imagine a world in which we can teach people that fast, and a world in which they don't just get the knowledge, they love it. They want more. Thank you. What's really interesting, tell me, how long does Neo go with this training session? Tank says he's a machine because he has been doing this for how long? 10 hours straight. He's a machine. Okay? We can't get people to study their chemistry textbook for 10 hours straight. We can't do it. Only super nerd does that. You think you're a nerd, you're not a super nerd, okay? Everyone here is a nerd. But you know what we can get a lot of people to do? Play Civilization for 10 hours straight, okay? Play their favorite game. Play Call of Duty for 10 hours straight. Play World of Warcraft for 10 hours straight. We can get students to engage with games and learn those games for 10 hours straight. We can't get them to engage with a chemistry textbook for 10 hours straight. But what if we could? Could we teach students faster? Could we get some of those resources back, some of that tuition back, instead of a student spending 1/3 of their life, 20 plus years, becoming a productive, knowledgeable member of society? What if we could make that 5 years? That would be a pretty big deal, wouldn't it? We can't connect directly to your brain, but these days, we can connect pretty directly to your eyes and ears. We're getting closer, okay? So I would like you to think about that. We're getting closer to that hypothetical from the Matrix. Education and training and fitness and medicine are areas where XR is proving legit. Those markets aren't quite as big as what Mr. Zuckerberg wants, but they're pretty big, okay? Socialization is a big one too. We just came out of a big pandemic in which a lot of people made a lot of friends using technologies such as VR chat, okay? Anyone heard of VR chat? A little bit infamous, okay? Actually, that's one of the reasons real human beings use it. We'll talk more about Mr. Zuckerberg's attempt at it, Horizon Worlds, and why maybe that didn't succeed. The gist of it, though, is humans aren't sterile beings. If you want to put them into a sterile, corporate, advertiser-friendly environment, it's not really going to work, okay? Human beings can be quite spicy, and VR chat embraced that, and Mr. Zuckerberg couldn't. There are other ways for us to use XR to teach, okay? To take people places. We can't take you to the tip top of Mount Everest in real life. It's too expensive. But we can do that in VR. It's not quite the same experience, but it's better than nothing, quite a bit better. We can't take you to the Titanic in any case, okay? But we can in VR. We can recreate it. We give you a good sense for what it was actually like. We can use augmented reality to help you understand how a chair is going to look in your living room before you buy it. Not just looking at the sometimes doctored marketing imagery. We can actually give you a sense for scale, for color palette, for lighting, and stuff like that. All of these niche use cases, they're not that sexy, okay? They're not going to light up an investor's eyes. But they're real, okay? And they're real today. And I think as technologists, our mission is to try and find more use cases like this that are genuine. That is how a technology survives. And if we fail, then XR is going the way of 3D TV. If we succeed, if the killer app is in this classroom, then maybe it has a second chance at a smartphone style hype wave, where it goes up, explodes, and just keeps going. And that sounds a bit ridiculous, okay? But here's the thing. All of these innovations that have had a big wave, okay, made lots of money for their teams, they didn't come from Mr. Zuckerberg, okay? They came from small teams. In some cases, they came from singular students. In some cases, singular students from the University of Michigan, okay? Here's another really, really cool one. Augmented reality. This was created, engineered by 3, I think, EECS 494 students. I just got out of teaching that class. This is Spellbound AR, augmented reality for pediatric medical care. Okay, let's take a look.
Spellbound is a mobile app that uses augmented reality technology to bring paper books to 3D life. It can recognize what it's looking at and pull characters out in 3D. It can read the story aloud, and you can interact with the paper page in ways you've never imagined before. We work with hospitals who are actively seeking to improve the pediatric patient experience and who want to arm their child life specialists with tools to distract, engage, and entertain. It's making the hospital more interesting. Perhaps we can use it to create scavenger hunts or something to get kids up and walking and exploring the hospital and being compliant with treatment, but also creating those experiences that are going to be normalizing for them.
It's
The basic idea here with Spellbound. A kid has to go to the hospital and they've got a very scary, very invasive medical procedure coming up. They're nervous. Their parents are nervous. How do we settle them down? We can use this technology, the pop-up book. It really calms them down, it distracts them, it makes the hospital a place that they actually want to visit, to have a special, unique experience. You can't go home and have this experience. But more and more these days, this company is actually doing what they said. They're doing scavenger hunts. A kid has had an operation. We need them to get up and walk around, okay, and kind of rehabilitate their limbs. But it hurts, okay? They're stiff, it's painful. So how do we do that? We coax them out of their bed with scavenger hunts, with interesting gameplay, with augmented reality that forces them to walk around the hospital and scan different codes and see different unique things. And that is how this company operates. They make a good bit of money doing it. I'm very proud whenever I go to visit them. It's like seeing old faces from my classes. I usually show them their 494 projects as well, which always makes them a little bit like bashful, like, oh, they're so embarrassed. No, you should never be embarrassed about your student projects, okay? You deserve to be proud. Okay, stuff like that, small teams, all right? Teams not very different from all of you in this course. Beat Saber, perhaps the current killer app for VR, a 3 to 4 person team in the famous game dev hotbed of the Czech Republic, okay? San Francisco has nothing on the Czech Republic, okay? And they had a very small previous game. Didn't sell very well, very tiny, and boom, just took over VR just like that. Whenever a new technology comes out, it is up in the air. It is anyone's game to take, okay? And that's still the case, especially now that some of the big players like Meta are distracted by the latest tech hype wave, okay? Still up in the air. Young technologies must find their calling, and we can help. From crypto to something like smartphones, okay? All of these technologies have their uses, their niches that really genuinely matter. Our mission is to look beyond the hype and to find those things, those applications that are real, okay? To understand these technologies for what they truly are and not just for what some hype bro tells us it's gonna be, okay? What can this technology do to genuinely help people with their genuine problems today? Big problems and small problems, they all matter, okay? Where XR falls, is it gonna be 3D TV? Is it gonna be smartphone revolution, right? Depends on us. If we can find the applications, then it will have impact. If we can't, then it's gonna sink, all right? And remember, small teams can do amazing things, all right? Daniel Kortemeyer managed to publish a big paper due to his work on NeuroVR. He was able to have impact in his final days. And so we should always remember, right? We don't have infinite time. The time we have might be much more finite than what we think. So we gotta go out there, we gotta fight the good fight, and we have to do our best because we can't rely on Mr. Zuckerberg. Okay, he has endless resources, but he doesn't know how to spend them. In fact, his resources are a problem. His resources prevent him from spending them in the way he needs to make XR work, okay? We're gonna talk more about that in the future. But I've got some news for you. So I worked for Mark Zuckerberg. I worked at Meta for a while, and he recently called me up. He knows we got great XR teams at Michigan. He knows the metaverse needs help. He says, Austin, help me. I'm gonna send you something. Mark has requested our help, so I'm gonna give you a message directly from Mark Zuckerberg to you, okay? So let's take a look at what Mark has for us. After this brief message from Kroger.
Kroger's same-day pickup and delivery. It's easy.
Congratulations on becoming an alpha tester for Metaverse. You will soon be joining a shared VR space with Spatial, accompanied by Mark Zuckerberg, who will test this environment with you.
Hey, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the metaverse. Starting with the most important experience of all. Sweet baby rays. You're going to be able to bring things from the physical world into the metaverse. I like barbecuing. And I guess I'm a Sweet Baby Ray's fanboy.
New alert. Mark Zuckerberg offers you a Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Nod your Metaverse licensed headset to accept. Shake your Metaverse licensed headset to decline. Head shake detected. You are about to decline Mark's offer. Nod your Metaverse licensed headset to confirm the rejection. Shake your Metaverse licensed headset. Head nod detected. You decline Mark's offer. Mark did not like that. Meta has dispatched a hitman to your location at Mark Zuckerberg's request.
You may feel your Meta licensed headset tightening.
Soon you will be unable to remove it. This is normal and follows the terms of service that you previously accepted.
All right, good. Okay, so we can't count on Meta. Okay, we can't count on the big companies. We got to go do it ourselves. That's what we're going to do in this course. Okay, who on earth are we, by the way? We've been talking for a while. Who on earth are we? Scott, who are you?
Hi everyone, I'm Scott. I'm going to be your IA for this semester. I took this class last year. This is a small screenshot. This is my final project. I really like this class. I'm happy to be back. It's super fun. I'm also in leadership at this U of M's XR club. It's RE, Alternate Reality Initiative. We do XR, VR, AR stuff. So if you like that kind of thing, what you're doing in this class, we do that out of class and typically meet on Saturdays. I think you've got a slide on it, so I won't talk much about it, but I'm in that club. It's super fun. I also had an internship at a company called Light Guide last summer. I'm actually going to return to work for them after I graduate, and they're a projector-based augmented reality company. So there are jobs out there, actually, if you want to do XR stuff. You can get jobs that are doing this kind of thing. So it's super fun, super cool. That's a little about me.
Thank you, Scott. Scott had a fantastic final project. I believe this was about ecosystem research, right? Was
Something
it?
like that, yeah.
Yes. So you got to explore an environment. You get to kind of check out the animal ecosystem. Oh gosh, what is it called? The kind of food chain.
I think
right?
it was a different project.
Oh, which one?
Ours was like camping. It taught you about
camping
environmental
survival.
sustainability.
Yes, that's right. Yes, so camping tips and tricks, how to keep yourself safe, how to not damage the environment. Very, very cool stuff. I think you had a bear attack in your game. You have to keep your camping supplies safe from bears. So very, very cool stuff. Very engaging. Very educational. My name is Austin Yarger. This is a pretty old photo, as you can tell. I have been a lecturer here, mainly teaching the game development and XR stuff on campus since about 2017 or so. I worked on The Sims 4, if you've played that game. I worked on a bunch of stuff at EA Mobile and some stuff at Meta. They were known as Facebook at the time. I've done some simulation work for DARPA, and I run the International Game Developers Association Ann Arbor chapter. So if you want to engage with others outside of this class and campus on XR or game dev topics, that's a really, really good resource. I'll let you know when the next meeting is coming up. I think you get some extra credit for attending if you want to. There's a spectacular club on campus that is dedicated to all things VR, AR, XR. Alternate Reality Initiative, ARI. They are a really, really fantastic org. They meet quite often. I think they have weekly meetings. Is that right? They have hackathons. They have tutorials. And they are a great group if you are really into all these crazy cool kind of niche use cases for XR. Okay? So please join up with them. If the topic interests you, you won't regret it at all. There's a game dev club on campus. If you are into more the game dev, gaming side of things, Wolverine Soft is quite big. They also do weekly meetings, hackathons, stuff like that. You will go to these events and you'll discover there are a lot of people with Unity and Unreal Engine knowledge on campus. They can help you out. And you'll have a good time. There is an AR team on campus called Claws. Anyone in that? This is a group that builds AR applications for astronauts. So kind of a really cool niche. Possibly has a lot of money in it if you can get a product to actually be in use with NASA. They've got quite a bit of cash. And so that's probably an interesting thing to check out if you want to as well. So our mission today is relatively simple. We want to help you get a feel for what this course is going to be like and whether it's going to be a good fit for your schedule and your interests. So let's go ahead and talk about that. I also want to get through this and I want to show you some Unreal Engine. Okay, Unreal Engine is a fantastic game engine. If you know Unreal, there are a lot of jobs in gaming, of course, but also in XR, visualization. I think Tesla cars actually use Unreal Engine for their heads-up display, which I discovered fairly recently. But Unreal Engine is taking over architecture. It is taking over film production. It is dominating in a lot of different areas. So learning Unreal Engine is going to be really, really nice for you this semester and long into the future, I think. So what on earth actually is this course? Well, EECS 440 is a kind of capstone senior design course. You can take this even if you're not a senior, but it is an XR course. But what on earth does that actually mean? Well, I want to show you a couple projects so you can get a feel for what this means. One really cool project is a fitness app. It's called Urban Rush. I'm going to show you the trailer for this application. Let's take a look.
Are you ready for the ultimate fitness challenge? Introducing Urban Rush, the virtual reality fitness game that will push you to your limits. With Urban Rush, you have to dodge cars and squat with your gains, all while getting a full body workout. But the challenges don't stop there. You have to fight off zombies and robots to survive. And with new levels and challenges added regularly, the possibilities are endless.
One really, really cool thing about this app, you can see it here, this is a game, but the game design, the level design, gets you to do certain workouts that they would like you to do. So for instance, right here, you can see that the team is able to put this barrier up here, up high, to force you to crouch. But actually, right behind this barrier are some coins that are up high, so you actually have to kind of jump to get them. Well, not behind this one, but I think behind the next one. So you have to actually go from crouching one moment to jumping up and grabbing them the next, and then more barriers. So crouch again, jump up, crouch again, jump up. And the team has successfully put you into an interesting and exhausting workout routine via their level design in the game. And so it's kind of a very interesting challenge to make something engaging while getting the outcomes you want physically. And the game did a really, really good job. These games were made in groups of, I think, 3 to 4, and made in about 4 weeks. So very quickly and rapidly made. Very, very impressive for just 4 weeks. Unfortunately, this link broke, but I'm going to send it to you once I contact the team so you can actually watch the footage. This actually won a grant from Snap, an AR grant, I think like 5 figures or so. And the idea here is that the team utilized, I think, Open Computer Vision, OpenCV, to track the facial position of the eyebrows, the eyes, right, the cheeks, the chin, the lips. And they actually got in with some Michigan medicine patients who needed to rehabilitate their facial muscles. And so this is a game, a series of mini games in which you can actually make your character jump over obstacles by lifting your eyebrows, right? And you need to do it with timing, and you need to achieve certain scores to advance. It's the kind of thing where a doctor can prescribe an actual game, can customize it to get patients to do the rehabilitation that is necessary. And the team did a wonderful job. They went and talked to a medical doctor and got in with the doctor and actually got to see their work in front of actual patients. Extremely cool. So this is an extended reality course, but what does that actually mean? Well, if you don't know the term, XR kind of stands for a bunch of different things affecting reality. The R stands for reality, and X is kind of a variable, depending on kind of what you're doing to reality and how much of it you want. So you can kind of think of this as a little bit of a spectrum. On one end, we have virtual reality. This is where you put on a headset, like what you see in front of you on the tables and up here, and your reality is entirely replaced. It is entirely made virtual. This is your second week's homework, where you will create a VR magic show. You will have curtains that move in Unreal Engine. You'll have a spell that allows you to turn your audience members into like little pumpkins, whatever you want to turn them into, okay? But notice here in this footage, the entire reality around you has been replaced with something digital, something virtual, okay? That is VR. On the other spectrum, other side of the spectrum, we say, well, we mostly want our authentic reality. But we're just going to augment it with a few things, okay? A little extras, right? We're going to have Pikachu walking around. We're going to be able to interact with a Pokeball, okay? Pokemon Go style. This is augmented reality. We're taking the reality around us, the real deal, and we're just changing it. Often, this comes in the form of a mobile device, but more and more these days, we are seeing wearables, okay? There are spectacles, little goggles from Snapchat that have little cameras on the outside and inside. And we're seeing things like the Ray-Bans from Meta. A super promising way forward for XR seems to be these lightweight glass-style wearables. Do you know why? These are actually selling really well for Meta, the Ray-Bans. Do you know why? Yes?
Make you look like a nerd.
Exactly. At least not any more than we already do. Okay? So it turns out I wear these, but you know, these are kind of annoying, and I don't always like the way I look in them, and they're expensive to buy, but I still wear them. You know why? It has a killer feature. What is it? I'm very sassy and sarcastic whenever I teach this course. It's like I'm not usually that way. What is the killer feature of these right here?
You can see.
Yeah, I can see. I get my vision back, okay? That's pretty crazy. That's worth it, all right? But if we can miniaturize a lot of the features of AR and VR into a glasses-style format, good chance it blows up then. Big challenge is that the mobile processors and chipsets and energy requirements, they've improved dramatically and miniaturized, but not to be this small, okay? Often if you have things like this, you have to wear like a little computer in your pocket, a battery that hooks up to it to actually get the processing and the energy to do interesting things. However, the Ray-Bans can do things like capture footage, talk to you, do LLM queries, and translate things. And that's getting there. That's really getting there, okay? Somewhere in the middle, we have mixed reality, which is what some of our devices are becoming. When you put these headsets on, you're going to notice that they actually have the ability to be in an AR mode and show you the real world around you via pass-through cameras. They also have the ability to go completely virtual. So It's kind of like, do you want VR or AR? These used to be separate. More and more these days, it's more like a slider. It's a continuum, okay? And more devices are able to do both, which is really, really cool. Okay, so this is an XR course. That means it's a virtual reality course. For the first probably third of the course, we're going to be focusing on VR, okay? Safety is a bit of a concern with VR. We'll need to keep that in mind, but it is just that immersive. If you have never put on a VR headset, you are in for a treat, okay? If you have never put on a good VR headset, these are pretty good, okay? $1,500 devices right here. When you put these on, you're going to get super high resolution. It's going to look great, sound great. It's going to move very fluidly. You're going to really enjoy these headsets, the MetaQuest Pros in this room. Watch this GIF right here. I show you this because this is the immersive power of having high-quality headsets on, okay? Having your reality replaced is so immersive that sometimes you might accidentally get yourself a bit hurt, okay? That's not going to happen in this course. We're going to be safe. But look at this right here. He's seeing a roller coaster through the eyes here. And he gets pranked a little bit, but he's so immersed that he actually kind of feels himself being on that coaster suddenly. So yeah, don't do this to other people. I love this one, okay? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Grandma has never seen something like this. This is one of the early headsets too. So not quite as immersive as the ones we have. The focus in this course is going to be on desktop computer virtual reality apps. All the ones right in front of you. That means high fidelity. That means Unreal Engine. Good stuff. Unreal Engine, one of the most powerful and popular game engines out there. You learn Unreal Engine, that's going to open you up to a ton of jobs, okay? Lots of teams, even on campus, lots of laboratories are looking for Unreal Engine students, and they can't really find any. As far as I know, this is pretty much the only course that teaches it at kind of a deep level. We're going to do a lot of programming in Unreal Engine, so look forward to that in the next handful of weeks. Our focus is going to be, in particular, on some really useful design patterns that are useful inside of VR, but also outside of VR. In particular, the EECS 298 3D Tech Art and Animation students ended up using an affordance architecture last semester. It's just very useful in all sorts of cases. But we're going to have several assignments that deal with VR, and then one big 3-week-long project on VR, okay? It's going to be quite a good time, and you will probably be looking to build something, similar-ish to NeuroVR for your final project. You can choose your final project, and you can choose who you work with in this course. But a lot of teams end up thinking medical. They think fitness. They think education when it comes to virtual reality projects, okay? You can do whatever you want to, though. The assignments are going to involve next week creating your own VR magic show, which is a really good time. And you are going to end up recreating an on-campus laboratory, okay? Not just recreating the laboratory, but you're going to end up filling it with NPCs you can talk with. You're going to end up giving it interactivity. For instance, light switches, right? Interacting with them will turn the lights on and off. Interacting with a copy machine will copy nearby objects. You'll be able to draw on the whiteboard and leave messages if you want to. You'll be able to do all sorts of interesting things. Pull the fire alarm if you want to. You do that in real life, you get into big trouble. You do that here, that's just part of the assignment, all right? So look forward to that. You'll probably end up creating some sort of interesting VR final project. Here's a really fun one. This is driver education. We'll see if this link works. Okay, rock and roll. This is about giving people a risk-free place to practice their driving skills, their knowledge of driving regulations. And so let's take a look.
Welcome to Driver Ed, the revolutionary virtual reality driver's ed simulator. Immerse yourself in VR to learn the rules of the road without any of the pressure that comes with it. With the power of VR, we are able to provide the most realistic simulator for driver's ed. We prepare our students for the road by forcing them to actively observe their virtual surroundings. Driver Ed empowers new students with knowledge of the rules of the road before they buckle their seatbelt for the first time. We aim to remedy the fear first-time students have getting behind the wheel by making the learning process less daunting. Driver Ed will focus on having options for driver's ed schools and programs. We envision eventually providing VR headsets and driving wheel controllers as part of our total package, as well as creating a driver's ed ecosystem to allow Driver Ed to thrive. With the power of Driver Ed technology, students will be able to learn traffic laws in a meaningful sense and most immersively possible. Driver Ed will change the way driver's education is conducted and we will strive to create more knowledgeable and safer cohorts of new drivers.
Rock and roll. Again, another project created in about 4 weeks. Not much time at all with a small team. Imagine if they had more time. That would be amazing. Let's keep going. So this is a virtual reality course, but it is also an augmented reality course. It's kind of the other half of XR these days. Augmented reality, you are going to be building some interesting applications. You're going to be building some kind of early assignments that have models moving around in real life. You're going to be building, the big one is going to be a Pokemon Go clone. How many of you have played that game? It's probably been a while, right? But you'll be building a Pokemon Go clone, and we'll be kind of showing you how to do that. The projects are pretty guided in this course. They're not too stressful. But the focus is going to be on mobile AR in this course, though we will explore the other modes of AR. We focus on mobile AR because you all have a mobile device capable of doing exactly that. So if you have not ever made an app for your own device, you're going to do that in this course. The focus is going to be on mobile AR apps. We will experience wearables. This week, you should, as part of the first assignment, get some time with a Microsoft HoloLens device. They're very limited devices, but they're extremely cool, especially if you haven't tried them before. For this, you will be using the Unity game engine. Okay, not Unreal. Unreal is very good at VR and very bad at AR. Unity is very good at AR and pretty decent at VR. The focus, again, is going to be on interaction systems, UI, and kind of data management to create your simulation, to create your visualization. You're going to have several assignments and then 1 3-week-long project, just like with the VR side of things. Okay? And the assignments, next week you're going to create a small little augmented reality auto show. That's going to be planes, it's going to be cars, you're going to be creating these different actors, these game objects, giving them logic, and you can watch them kind of move around the space. It is very amusing. And then you are going to be creating a Pokemon Go clone called A2 Go, Ann Arbor Go, in which you are going to be creating an experience where you can explore Ann Arbor, find different landmarks to collect different types of seeds, and then to plant trees to build a kind of tourist tree-based economy in Ann Arbor, okay? And you will have multiple modes. You'll be using this kind of exploratory GPS-powered mode. We'll be using a tool called Mapbox. But you'll also have an augmented reality mode in which you'll be planting trees, watching them grow, and fending off squirrels. Ann Arbor famous for its demon squirrels, and kind of building things out like that. Okay, augmented reality projects at the very end of the semester are not as common as VR projects, but you get to choose. You get to choose what engine you use. You get to choose whether you're going to be VR or AR. One of my favorites is Move AR. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
If you're struggling with learning proper form and exercising, then Move AR could be the solution for you.
To use Move AR, select an exercise, visualize it in the real world, walk around to see it from all angles, follow along with the example to learn the proper form, and record yourself to review it. The app also gives additional guidance on each exercise, including which muscle groups are being targeted and recommended sets and reps.
What's amazing about Move AR is that it doesn't just stop at exercising. Physical therapists can use Move AR to ensure their patients rehabilitate in proper form. They can create custom exercises through motion capture, assign patient-specific exercise plans, and track patient data. And there are so many more applications.
For all your exercise needs, use Move AR.
I think the team actually had some of their kinesiology friends record some mocap data for some of those exercises, which is kind of neat. Okay, let's keep going. So this is a VR course, this is an AR course, but you probably heard we're going to be using two engines, okay? Two different engines, and that's because this is, in a way, a pretty big way, a game engines course, okay? Once you have a fluency in game engines, there is no limit to what you can do. Visualizations, games, of course, simulations, and XR stuff. Game engines they kind of look very different at first glance. But it turns out the game engines are all kind of different flavors of the same thing. And for those of you taking the EECS-498 Game Engine Architecture course, you're going to get a feel for this. Once you learn one game engine like Unity, learning Unreal Engine, not too bad, okay? And vice versa. It's kind of like learning a programming language. If you learn C++, it might take a few years. But learning Python after C++ or C# after C++, it's going to take a few weeks, okay? That's it. So you're going to be using Unity and Unreal in this course. Unity for AR, Unreal for VR. Unity engine looks like this. And the Unreal Engine looks like this. And you can kind of already get a feel for the fact that these two kind of are similar, aren't they? Right? You've got this big, beautiful kind of viewport that shows you your kind of window into the world. On the bottom, you have this area where you got all your assets, your images, your audio files, reusable things, okay? Down here, you got those reusable chairs, some materials, textures, stuff like that. And then whenever you click on something, right, it highlights in an upper menu. Over here, it's on the other side. And then you get some information about how it works in an inspector, or what we call the details pane on the right. But this is all to say that these engines are more similar than you might realize. And while this might seem like a terrifying prospect, I'll tell you, EECS-440 teaches you a lot of things. It's not that heavy of a course. It doesn't even come close to EECS-494 or the Game Engine Architecture EECS-498 Upper Level CS, okay? EECS-440 is actually the most chill course that I have, I think. I think even EECS-298, the 3D Tech Art and Animation course, is heavier than EECS-440 is. So please do not despair. Learning two game engines seems intimidating, but we're going to take our time. And you're going to get heavy guidance in our assignments. A lot more guidance than my other courses do. They're going to kind of tell you, hey, you want to click on this, right? Here's what's going on. Don't worry about this. You receive a lot of guidance, and we have a lot of office hours for you as well, okay? In fact, let me just quickly show you that. At the bottom of our Canvas page, you can find our office hours, and oh my goodness, do we have a lot of them for you, okay? On Mondays, we have 3 office hours for you, from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight, 2 office hours. If you want to get a start on your assignment, I'm going to be hanging out right in here for 2 hours straight. Let's knock it out, okay? We can do that. Tuesdays, Scott has an hour. Wednesdays, we got more time for you. Fridays and Saturdays. Sundays, we have office hours. 3 hours on Sunday, quite a lot, okay? One thing I'll point out is that these office hours are considered fungible. There might be some of my other courses, students from my other courses, 494 and 498, in there at the same time. You hop on the list and you can use those hours. Usually those courses don't need a lot of office hours, so they'll probably will be able to get to you during any of these, okay? All right, so you'll have a lot of support in this course to tackle this difficult challenge. But what you're going to discover is that these engines really are a lot more similar than they are different. And so it's not too bad. Dealing with these engines and building things in the engines, building VR and AR apps, comprises the majority of your coursework. The good news is that if you have an understanding of Unity and Unreal, that opens up a ton of job opportunities to you, okay? Job opportunities that you might not expect. It turns out a lot of companies that have nothing to do with game dev use game engines. In fact, I'm surprised they're still called game engines. They're so common these days. They're much more like multimedia compilers. You can find companies, car companies, using Unreal Engine for their dashboard displays. Of course, you've got companies like NeuroVR working with hospitals to provide software. Unity, right, the game engine, signed a multi-million-dollar contract with the Department of Defense of the USA for, I guess, training or simulation stuff, right? That's kind of crazy. Russia is really nervous they might lose access to Unreal, so they're going to build their own. It's like game engines really matter these days. They really do. So this is a game engine course in a very real sense. But it's also not just for recreation or fun. This is a social impact course. We're not just trying to make games. That is what EECS 494 is for. You take that course if you want to get really good at Unity and want to focus on game design. Okay, games really do matter to a lot of people. I think they are very socially impactful, but that's not the kind of social impact we're looking for in this course, okay? So again, we are looking for this kind of stuff, right? Fitness, health, training of different kinds, education, socialization. If you can make an argument that this is going to improve someone's life, I think you got a case that your app is social impact. And you can make something that is fun or a game, but it needs to have some sort of non-recreational social impact goal. That's it. Okay, that's it. So this is also a fairly entrepreneurial course. What we're going to be doing every lecture from here on out is we're going to be taking a look at pre-existing, like current day XR companies and how they are using these really interesting technologies to tackle some sort of niche, okay? And some of these are going to be a disaster and quite funny, okay? This is a company, HoloRide, we're going to look at pretty soon, that is basically trying to make your car ride a more fun experience. So what they do is they use the gyros, the sensors in the headset, to detect when your car turns. And so in-game, they will kind of design your experience to kind of mimic the car's, whatever G's you're feeling from the car's acceleration. Can you think of any other ways to keep someone distracted while they're in a car ride? I don't know, just anything in particular that works really well and is free. Okay, so some of these companies you're going to discover are a bit of a disaster, but some of them are very, very cool. It turns out you can use VR to distract people so well that they can be undergoing surgery and you don't need to use anesthesia. You just give them a VR headset with the right software and they don't need anesthesia anymore. That sounds crazy to me. It works, apparently. Anyway, so we're going to look at a lot of different companies, and then at the very end of the semester, you are going to have 4 to 5 weeks to form your own basic company and to make whatever XR app you choose, okay? So a couple more projects. This one's super cool, Atomic Builder. It's actually kind of difficult to study chemistry, to study molecular structures, because they are three-dimensional. When you try and study them in a 2D textbook, it can be a little bit difficult to understand the structure of the molecule. Atomic Builder brings you right next to the molecule, kind of shrinks you, and gives you some interesting challenges for building your own molecules. Much more memorable to study. Skip. There we go.
Hey you! Who? Me? Yes, you. Do you have problems visualizing organic chemistry, hydrocarbon molecules in 3D space? Yes, I have problems visualizing organic chemistry, hydrocarbon molecules in 3D space. Well, I have a tool just for you. Introducing Atomic Builder. Atomic Builder is a chemistry learning tool designed to visualize complex hydrocarbon structures in 3D space using VR technology. See with your own eyes how complex molecular structures would interact in reality. Place atoms next to each other to bond them together. Once bonded, they move together as a complete structure. Follow our interactive tutorials to get used to the controls. After you've mastered the controls, utilize the knowledge for more difficult structures. Boost your organic chemistry with Atomic Builder.
So again, one of the really cool features of this one is when they go to try and cement your knowledge of what's going on, they can randomize challenges so that you can't just rely on memorization. Super, super cool stuff. Villa VR, a really interesting one, okay, about language learning, foreign language learning. Let's take a look. Oh, come on, click. Here we go.
It was almost time to die, so I had to hit them with a truck. But I got the wrong coordinates and accidentally hit you instead. Now, to show my sincerity in apologizing, I will give you a new life in a new world. The people there may speak a language that you know nothing about. I'll send a little helper to go along with you.
Villa VR, a language learning RPG. Immerse yourself into the rich world of Villa VR. Start quests and conversational skills. Practice speaking and listening to Dungeons and Dragons. Expand your vocabulary by interacting with the environment.
Yeah. I am headed to Japan this summer, so I think I need to use this to learn. As you saw, it's what a crazy intro to this game. Like, I would have accepted just, hey, you're in this village now and you can't speak the local language. But the team put in an immense amount of work to build a narrative where you get hit by a truck and killed and warped to this, kind of reincarnated in this village. Like, kind of crazy. But the team did a great job. Beautiful game. And works pretty well. They built in some vocal recognition into the software, so not just a VR game, but also using some vocal recognition tech. So very, very cool stuff. Okay, the last thing I think that I will show, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to show Dreamgate later. It is a super cool project. What I want to do is I want to take a break, okay? I want to take our 5-minute break, 2-hour lectures, so we'll have a 5-minute break in the middle of them, typically. Go ahead and walk around, use the restroom. When we come back in 5 minutes, I'll turn some music on. When we come back in 5 minutes, we are going to dive into Unreal Engine. And we have some work to do in Unreal, because last night I was here at about 3:30 a.m. experimenting and making sure the lecture would go okay, the demonstration would go okay. In the latest version of Unreal, Epic Games broke the VR template. It has a bug in it. You're going to have to solve that bug if you want to progress or use it or even start your assignments. And we're going to solve that bug together. I'm actually going to show you how to debug it. And then I'm going to show you some other cool stuff in Unreal Engine. Okay? All right. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, let's get back to it. So, I have a couple of things before we dive into Unreal Engine and start having some fun. There are a couple announcements I want to make. So, the course Piazza and Canvas site are up. You really want to take a look at it. The Canvas site, the front page here, will pretty much tell you everything you need to know about the course and what's happening at any given moment, okay? You can find the course Discord server and the course Piazza. You can ask questions on any of these places. You can get help with the homework on these places. You can watch recordings if you want to. You do not need to be here physically in person for these lectures. I always like to see you here, but you can watch lectures from home if you want to on twitch.tv, or the lecture recordings, we upload them to YouTube. If you ever get confused and there's no office hours available, we do have office hours almost every day, but if you get unlucky, if it's like a Saturday or something and there aren't any office hours, you can ask AI assistants for help if you describe what's happening very precisely. In my experience, they are excellent at giving you good advice for things to try, okay? When things go wrong in a game engine, super, super useful stuff. Don't become addicted to these AI assistants or over-rely on them. Or when your code base gets bigger, they will start to fail, okay? So try and use them to learn, ask them questions. When they show you a coding example, interrogate them. Why are they making these decisions? What do these things actually do? And thus, you will gain knowledge faster and you won't be overly reliant on them to actually build your stuff, okay? When you look at this schedule, here's how you do so. Go to the left column. You move your eyes down it until you find the current day. Current day is the 7th. We highlight it in red for you automatically. And what you do then is you move your eyes rightward. If we've reached that day, you'll find a lecture plan document for it. You can click on it and you can see everything we're doing that day. You can go to lecture slides, you can see downloadable packages, all that good stuff. You can keep your eyes moving right, and if you run into a green block, that means an assignment is launching that day. It's available. And you can find a hyperlink and you can just click on it right there. You can read the assignment. You can do the assignment if you want to. If you move your eyes right and you hit a yellow block, that tells you you should be working on something. And the question is, well, what should I be working on? Well, just move your eyes upward until you find what you should be working on that day. And if you see a red block, if you move your eyes to the right and you see a red block, that means the assignment is due at the start of class that day, okay? We'll talk more about all the policies in the course, the syllabus stuff, in our second lecture on Monday. But basically, you have a 24-hour late period, and then you get a 0 on the assignment, okay? 24-hour late period is 20% off. Just don't turn things in late if you can help it. This course, pretty chill course, not super heavy, but if you wait too long to start your assignments, things can get a little bit unpleasant, okay? So please try and work on things progressively. Try and get in a half an hour a day on these assignments, and you'll knock it out in no time, and you'll have a very pleasant experience doing so. You have 2 assignments that are launching today, and you've got a week to do them. Exploration AR and Exploration VR, in my opinion, they're super easy. They're very fun, kind of. They are just trying to get you a little bit of experience with VR. So for example, in this Exploration VR assignment, you are going to be getting some time with these VR headsets. You're going to be putting them on. You're going to create some accounts. You got to create a Meta account, I think, or an Oculus account. And you're going to be building some basic things. You're going to go down to this report document, make a copy of it, and then you're going to do some basic research on the headsets you find around the lab. You're going to be interacting with some of the fun, like VR introductory mini games that happen. You're going to be kind of walking around in VR, getting a feel for how they work, how to move, how to do stuff. And then you're going to be breaking open Unreal Engine for the first time. And you're going to be getting into this template I'm about to show you. And you're going to be building some very basic things. You're going to be downloading some objects from a store called Fab. and you're going to build a little environment. Here's like my avocado brownie, half a ham environment. And you'll be having some fun kind of moving things around in Unreal Engine. Should be a good time. In the other assignment, Exploration AR, you'll be doing some similar things, but with your mobile device and Unity, okay? So not super difficult assignments. They guide you through the assignments. I'm going to have to update some things because Unreal Engine just changed a lot of the UI, kind of where things are. So here's a tip. Don't make a copy of these right away. Or if you do, try and look back. I'll make some announcements when I update these documents to give you better guidance. But if you make a copy, you'll kind of be stuck with the old guidance. So just be a little bit careful about that. I'll tell you when things update. Keep an eye on the Discord server, and I should have some updates out like tonight, okay? So you might wait a day or so to start these assignments. For the Exploration AR assignment, you are going to be getting some time with the Microsoft HoloLens headsets. And so basically just go to my office hours, not at today's office hours, but next office hours, they should be available for you, okay? You can put them on, play around with them, get a selfie, boom, you're done with that part of the assignment. Pretty nice, okay? Okay, what other stuff do I have before we dive into Unreal? Office hours begins today. There's going to be an equipment lottery coming up where you can get your own headset, take home. But I have to check some things because I think some of our headsets are officially being deprecated on Windows, so you can't use them. I'm going to have to look at that. Otherwise, does anyone have any questions thus far? We'll talk a lot more about policies and stuff and details on Monday. But yeah, this week, mostly just about having some fun with VR and AR, okay? If it's been a while, rekindle your passion for these cool technologies, and should be a good time. So, I'm going to show you Unreal Engine. And I want you to know you shouldn't be taking any notes at all, okay? As I show you things in this course, it's all recorded. You can watch the lecture recording if you want to, if you need to. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just give you the spirit of these engines. You don't need to remember the specifics. The homework assignments are going to tell you exactly what to click on and what's going on, okay? So try and simply enjoy. And we'll have some fun with these awesome, I love game engines, right? We made an entire course to make our own game engine from scratch. They are so, so cool. So let's take a look. This is Unreal Engine, and oh my goodness, right away, you've got this really beautiful look in this world. This is the virtual reality template. And perhaps the most important thing for you to know in these first early weeks is how to move around. First of all, don't use a trackpad for your laptop. You know what this is, yeah? A mouse. You want to have one, you want to use it. It makes things very nice. Here's what you do in both game engines, okay? You have your mouse here, right-click in the viewport, and now I can move the mouse around just like I'm playing a first-person video game, okay? In fact, now I can take my left hand and I can put it on WASDA, and I can fly around super fast. I can get this beautiful view, any view I want. I can be pretty precise too, and I can just fly around. If you're not used to this, you can use the scroll wheel on the mouse to slow down your flight, and you can just be very nice and precise as you get used to it. But we can fly around this environment and have a pretty good time. So what do I want to do? Well, I want to walk around in this environment in VR. In the Viz Studio, a great place to do a lot of your assignments, your development, especially if you don't have a headset at home, you have these MetaQuest Pro devices right in front of you. And when you turn these on and put them on your head, you're going to get an option that says link with your computer. You say yes, enable that link, and you're going to up here see this VR preview mode. You click ... VR preview. And when you do this, you're going to get this nice little window to pop up. The window's going to pop up, and look at that. I'll try and maximize it for you so you can see a bit better. But now, any teammates you might have, or friends, or the people in office hours can actually see you. They can see what you're seeing. Now, I grab my controllers, and after a few moments, now they are accurately moving around and kind of showing me, where my hands are. These controllers are kind of funky. If you're used to other game controllers, then you might be surprised to find that there are buttons in surprising places. Look at my hands right now. My middle fingers can press this button, which will cause my digital avatar's middle fingers to kind of come in. And I've got these pointer triggers as well that cause my index finger, my pointer finger, to come in as well when I use them. I can even put my thumb down on the control stick, and I can have my thumbs come down too, which is super cool. These headsets, very modern, they're very nice. They have 6 degrees of freedom. Okay, they've got pitch. I can look up and down. They have yaw. Okay, I can look kind of like this, kind of twisting, and they have roll as well. So I can roll my head and everything's accurate. I can also translate my body and my head around on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis, up and down, and I get this perfect motion. It's just really, really nice. These headsets have an attachment on the back that allows me to loosen or tighten them. And that's really relevant in just a moment. I recommend going for a fairly tight kind of setup configuration, and here's why. You don't put it fully on, okay? Here's what I can do. If I make it tight, I can do this. I can kind of just place it on my head. This allows me to develop. I can develop, I can go back to here, I can mess with some stuff, some blueprints, and then I can quickly just do this and put it on, slip it on, and now I'm back into previewing my work like that. But then I'm done previewing my work, so I just put it like this and just kind of coax it on the front of my head, and it's super efficient to go back and forth, in and out, okay? So pretty cool stuff, but I can actually interact with this environment. The interactions are what bring VR and AR to life, so I can walk around and actually do things with these hands, okay? If I walk forward right now, what will happen to me? I bump into this desk. A huge problem for VR. So, almost all VR applications will give you the warp, the teleport feature. Do you see this blue thing right here? I hope you can see it. I can't really see what you're seeing. You can see it, yeah? Okay. When you hold forward on the joystick, on the right joystick, you'll get this cool little blue circle. If you let go, you will warp to wherever the blue circle was. Instead of walking around and dealing with my cable running out of distance or running into chairs and tables in the real world, warping gives us a really good way to do macro movement, and then my body can handle the micro movement, okay? Same thing with turning. Sometimes it's not really feasible to keep turning. Maybe you'll bump into a wall or something. My other stick can go ahead and tap left and right, and I just get this instantaneous 45-degree turn, just like this. If I want to keep facing you so that I'm not delivering the lecture into a wall, right, this is how I can turn and look around virtually without having to look at the wall. So these fingers right here are good for not just, the visuals. I can go to these objects in front of me, and if they have the grab component, which I'll show you in just a moment, I can actually grab the object, just like this, see? But actually, there's a problem. You want to know what the problem is? You want to know why I was awake up here at 3 a.m. last night? I didn't want to be here. Here's why I was here. Wait a second. Oh, it worked. What? Did I fix it? Did the controllers wake up? Yesterday, I can show you the footage actually. Yesterday, when you release the fingers, the grip, it would just stay stuck to your hand, which is not good. Yeah, that's awesome, great. So I can actually grab objects. I have to be careful, my desk is right here, right? I can throw them and release them. These pistols used to look quite a bit different in other versions of Unreal, but I can grab them both. They snap into position, and I can use my triggers now to shoot these little cylinders. All right, pretty cool stuff. I can shoot this ball right here. It is physically enabled. I can shoot these other bricks and send them flying. I think it's awesome. Super, super cool. They're despawning. We can actually go into the code and make them stay pretty much forever if we want to. Yeah, quite a bit of fun. I can throw these in the air when I'm done. I actually really like to just shoot upward, and then they come down kind of right in your face. It's raining. Yay. The amount of fun you can have just kind of messing around in virtual reality is substantial, okay? And I encourage you to embrace that and have as much fun as you can. That will make development and the friction you're going to face much easier to deal with. So if you face the issue that I faced earlier, I'm going to put this in the homework in case you run into it. But the basic problem was that the input assets, these assets kind of control what buttons do and how buttons are recognized by Unreal Engine. The grab right released and grab left released, it had a trigger whose actuation threshold was 1, but releasing the buttons was only giving a threshold of like 0.99. So the engine was not detecting that I had released the button. Today, it's detecting it just fine. So hopefully it'll be fine for you. If it's not, we can fix it, and I'm going to put the fix in the homework as well. But what I want to do is I say, you know what? I want to move some stuff around. I can grab this block right here, and I can move it around with these little arrow keys. When I grab a block, the block's name gets highlighted in what we call the outliner. Environments can be extremely busy. There can be a lot of objects, actors we call them, in an environment. This ball is an actor. This block is an actor. This wall, this gun, myself, the spawn point, which is invisible right here, they're all actors. It's nothing but actors. And this is our scene, okay? We will soon be giving them scripts, the theater motif. If you come from Unity, actors are the equivalents of game objects. And when you click on an actor, you can see its name be highlighted in our little outliner here. It makes sense that we would have this outliner, because if you imagine a scene with millions of actors, how on earth would I find the one I want just by flying around? No, you would search for its name. So I'm going to search for cube, and then I want cube 7. Boom, there's cube 7. Fantastic. But I can do other things as well. So I can grab this actor, Control C, Control V, and I just copy and pasted and created a new actor. Once I've clicked on an actor, we want to know certain things about that actor. So, for instance, how big is the actor? Well, I click on the actor, right here, the cube, and now you can look at the details pane. So the details pane is right here, the outliner is right here. The details pane is going to tell us a lot of things about whatever we've selected. So this cube, you want to know what size it is? Its scale is currently 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. The x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, you want to make it bigger, just punch in like a 2, okay? 2, 2, and it just got wider, and now it's got taller. We can do all this stuff. There are hotkeys. So let's see. W, E, and R. My fingers, which are usually on WASTA, can just hit W, E, and R, and I can just go in and really quickly rotate things and translate things. Okay, W, E, and R to switch between my gizmos. I can do all sorts of cool stuff here. And I can kind of create a big wall, maybe, like that. Just kind of extend it into the environment here. And kind of cool. Okay, kind of like that. Maybe it's like a little cubby we can kind of hide under, a little cave. That's kind of neat. Okay? Cool. And when I want to save, I can do Control S, but actually I should probably do Control Shift S. Control Shift S. Unreal Engine loves to not save everything, which just drives you crazy because Unreal Engine often crashes. But if you do Control Shift S, it's like Control S, but super. Okay, save everything. go crazy, save the whole thing. That is the safe way to do it. Always Control-Shift-S. You'll regret it if you don't get in the habit, okay? And yeah, so kind of a good time. I can go in after I make a change, just put my headset down really quickly, and I can enjoy looking at this tiny little cave that I've made over there. Kind of sweet, looks pretty cool. One thing I want to do, if we have enough time, is I want to go get another object. This is something you're going to have to do in the homework. So you're going to go to the content drawer, okay? You click on content drawer, and I like to dock it in layout. So if you come from Unity or Godot, now this feels like home. We got our project pane, the content drawer at the bottom. We can find all sorts of stuff here. You can look at all these folders. One thing that always makes me feel comfortable is I see this folder, this file structure, right? Well, this is literally just in your file system. I can right-click on any of these folders, and I can go to Show in Explorer. And I can just kind of look in here, all right? And it's really nice. Here's my project on my file system. I can go in, I can delete things, I can add things. I want to add some models to my project. So I'm going to go to Add, and I'm going to go up to Fab, okay? Fab is the name of Unreal Engine's kind of 3D asset store. And it's a good place to find stuff. I have to log in first, so I have to have an Unreal Engine account, an Epic Games account. But then I can come in here, I can go to 3D on the left side. I want to get some food. I'm going to go to the price filter, and I only want the free stuff. We don't really want you spending money in this course. We're not going to stop you from doing it, but you shouldn't have to do that, okay? And I'm going to look through all these things, right? I want a big avocado, okay? And I'm going to go to the avocado, and I'm going to go to Add to Project. And look, it's downloading the avocado, it's importing it, it's done. I'm going to click Add to Project again just to be safe. I'm a little bit paranoid. And where did it go? Oh, here's a folder for Fab, Megascans, 3D, boom, avocado. I could also go to one of these top folders. I could just search avocado, and I'm going to find it right there. Okay, we have a material for an avocado. I can drag that material onto any object I want. And now we got the avocado block. Okay, this isn't what you want. Okay, you want that static mesh. Whenever you look at something down here, it'll give you the name. What a crazy name. What is that name? That's an awful name. Oh my gosh, it's like bleh. But it's a static mesh, and if we drag it out, look at that, we got our nice avocado, a big avocado. Why does it look like that? What on earth? What? What? Why is it a shiny avocado? Yeah, welcome to Unreal Engine. Okay, I'm gonna go grab a different thing. I think what might have happened is the material is still baking, so sometimes when you bring something into Unreal, it looks very strange for a while. And maybe I accidentally just messed the avocado up. I don't know. Let's go add the apple here and see how the apple does. Okay, there's our red apple. Okay, another kind of strange name. I'm just going to drag it out here. Nice. Bring it into the air. I'm going to go ahead and scale it up like this. Big, nice, red, juicy apple. Okay. Super cool. And it's just going to be, I think, chilling here. Let's go ahead and Control-Shift-S to save. Control-Shift-S. And let's take a look at our apple. Unreal Engine is a very beefy engine. It's extremely powerful. It's kind of slow though. It's very fast when you're running a game, but building and stuff, and look at our wonderful apple right here. Very cool. There's a problem though. Last time I checked, apples don't float unless they're tied to a tree. So how do we make this apple fall? Well, we can go into the apple and we can actually see that this apple is marked as static, which means it's not meant to move. You have to remember to change it to movable. This is something you'll get used to. Don't worry, the homeworks will help you with this. And we need to turn on Simulate Physics. And now, when we go to check out our apple, hopefully it will fall. We'll see. Come on. Okay, saved, and okay, and look at that. It's already on the ground. We didn't even need to wait very long. I can even, oh no, we can't go shoot that. I think I need to enable collisions on it. But actually, something I want to do first, the last thing we're going to do, I'm going to do something very special. I'm going to take this apple, and I'm going to create a way to make copies. Not by copying and pasting the same thing, but by creating what's called a blueprint. Let's create a blueprint. I'm going to click this button right here. We're just going to call this Apple BP for blueprint. Reminder, you don't have to care about any of this, okay? You're going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. The homework will teach you all about this. But I now have our Apple BP, which means I can drag out and create more instances of that blueprint. And by adjusting the blueprint itself, I can edit all of these at the same time. So if I want to make this apple twice as big, I can edit the blueprint of the apple and all of my instances will change. It's kind of like having a class, an apple class, and adjusting the class to change all of my instances at once. It's super nice, okay? And I think the last thing I want to do, it's 3:20. You can head out if you want to, but I think this will just take a moment. I want to shoot these apples. I'm going to go to this pistol right here. I'm going to go to my blueprint button. It says this is a blueprint. Open the blueprint editor on it, and we can see our first bit of code. This is not like any code you've ever seen before in your life, unless maybe you've done MIT Scratch. This is visual programming. You create nodes. These nodes are functions, they're variables, and you follow control flow by following the white line that connects them all. And so what I want to do here is I'm going to look at the pistol. This pistol runs a function called spawn actor projectile. This projectile is a blueprint right here. Here's our little cylinder, right? I can go into the viewport. I can look at this little cylinder, right? Super cute. I don't want to see a cylinder. I want to see an apple, okay? So let's go ahead and let's add a mesh, static mesh component. All right, let's do like that, static mesh here. Actually, I don't want to add that. I'm going to take the one that already exists. I'm going to change its static mesh to not be the cylinder. It's going to be the apple, okay? Search for apple. Is that it? Hello? Oh yeah, that's it. And I can, I think, make it larger, okay? Like that. We got our, oh, I guess it's yellow. Oh yes, because it's using the wrong material. There we go. Now it's using the correct material. It's also rotated strangely, so I'll set that to 0. Good. Let's save it, compile it up here. Oh, it's just a lot of things you got to do, right? All this UI, all these things to remember. Again, you don't need to remember it. Just watch and have fun. Oh my goodness. Okay, the apples are now kind of bouncing against each other. I'm going to grab this pistol if I can, and I'm going to shoot these cute little apples now. So now we got all these apples kind of falling down. One of the things that's going to be very powerful for you during this course is you're going to build a lot of things from scratch, but you're also going to be grabbing things that already exist and poking at them and prodding at them, trying to figure out how they work, and then substitute your own stuff in, your own models, your own logic, stuff like that. It's a very useful skill. Because when you go to industry, when you go to academia, you're probably not going to be creating your own code bases from scratch anymore. You're probably going to be using code bases that already exist, getting in there, manipulating them to get them to do what you want, okay? It's a very useful skill. Back in the Sims 4 days, when I jumped onto the project, it had about 4 million lines of code already. You're not going to learn what every line of code is going to do. But you can often jump in, figure out how something works, find the area that's relevant to you, and then like a surgeon, go in and extract what you need, okay? Change the bits you need, boom, you're done, okay? So everyone, I hope you have as much fun in Unreal Engine in VR as I do. These are extremely interesting technologies. They're a lot of fun to play around with. And don't let the hype wave get you down, right? The metaverse may have failed for the time being, but there are still people with genuine problems that VR and AR can solve. We got to find those problems, we got to help those people, and that's what this course is going to be about, all right? I hope you have a fantastic first week of the semester, and I hope that you have a fantastic day today, all right? I will see you in office hours tonight if you want to knock out some of these assignments. Otherwise, take care, everyone. It's good to see you. See you next time. If you have any questions about the course, I'll stick around a little bit. I'll be kind of hanging around the back near the couches. Otherwise, see you later. Okay, everyone watching online, good to see you as well. Take care. Bye-bye.